1,500 to lead this city for 4 more years. Michael Bloomberg.
Bruce, thank you. Patrick, thank you. LaToya, Anthony. I've had 3 careers. 2 I started at the bottom and worked my way up. This one I sort of started at the top, hopefully not working my way down. But I know what it is to start out and to work, and it's what America is all about. You get a chance to create a career and be in charge of your own destiny, and that's what's wonderful. And I think too many people have forgotten that we don't have that opportunity elsewhere in the world. Let me also, before I say anything more, thank Mike Dixon, who is the store manager at Pathmark, for having us. And it's nice of him to do so. And, you know, Bruce, I was thinking while you were talking, and LaToya and Anthony were talking, it's the most wonderful thing. Anybody that doesn't get a tear in their eye when people are up there saying nice things and showing confidence in them just isn't a great human being, isn't a human being at all. But, well, thank you. Hopefully I won't disappoint anybody. I can only say I will continue to work as hard as I can. Let me just talk a few seconds about good food, good jobs, and good health, because I think that's a motto that all of us can get behind, and maybe we should make it a campaign slogan. Howard, do you want to consider that? Bruce seriously has been a wonderful partner in our efforts to build a greater, greener New York through our long-term plan, NYC. We anticipate adding 1 million more people to our city over the next 30 years, and the work that we've done in partnership with the UFCW 1,500 will help ensure that every resident of our city, especially those that live in underserved areas, has access to healthy, fresh, affordable food, particularly for our children. We have the greatest educational system of any big city, and it continues to get better, but the child has to be able to go to school with a decent meal in his stomach, or her stomach, and good health is really one of the keys to being able to enjoy the great American dream. Plan NYC is a great example of, I think, of what we can accomplish if we get everyone, labor and business and community groups together at the same table, working for the good of the city, and that's an approach that we think will finally achieve when we pass healthcare reform, which is why I was in Washington 2 days ago. As Ruth said, I do endorse the President's principles for healthcare reform because they make common sense. We need to pass quality, affordable healthcare to cover every American and every New Yorker, and that will be good for Bruce's members and for every person in our wonderful city. As mayor, I've worked hard to put politics aside, as you know, and bring a nonpartisan, pragmatic approach to government to take on the most difficult issues and to make the tough choices. And make no mistake, that's the kind of leadership we need to tackle these tough times and to come out stronger. I know New Yorkers are hurting. I hear it on the subways, I hear it in neighborhoods and coffee shops when I walk the streets. People are worried about losing their job or missing a mortgage payment. Families are worried about not having health insurance. And it's our job to do something about it. We can't just complain, we can't just say it's an international or national or statewide issue. Here in our city, we have to do whatever we can to help those that aren't as fortunate as those of us here today. And that's why we've launched an economic plan to create or save over 400,000 jobs in all 5 boroughs over the next 6 years. And we have concrete ways to do that. It means creating jobs by supporting small businesses. Small businesses employ roughly half the people in New York City. Creating jobs through effective job training and vocational training. When there are jobs, people have to have the skills to get those jobs and to succeed at those jobs, and we can do something about that. Creating jobs by helping entrepreneurs launch new businesses. We want people to come from outside of New York City and start a business here. That's great for us, and hopefully will be great for them. Creating jobs by investing in the next generation of jobs, biotech, green jobs, healthcare. We've got to invest in those industries that are going to grow so that people don't get jobs only to find 6 months or a year later their companies can't survive. We've got to create jobs by keeping working people here in this city. Families, middle-class families, people that built this city, people that know what hard work is all about, people that want to have a better life for themselves and their children. And lastly, we have to do something about people who are in danger of losing their homes, preventing foreclosures and keeping neighborhoods strong. foreclosures really are devastating, not just to the people who lose their house, but to everybody in the neighborhood, and it's incumbent on all of us to help each other. Our vision for New York, as everybody knows, and heard me say it again and again, centers on strengthening the middle class, creating good paying jobs, and making our neighborhoods even better places to live and to raise a family. I know we can do it because we did it before. If you remember back right after 2001, the future then looked pretty bleak. And everybody was worried about the economy, the jobs, families, futures. Conventional wisdom was people would leave the city and that we would not have a great future. Crime would skyrocket, the streets would get filthy, our parks would fall apart. Well, let me tell you what we did. We brought the city back, roaring back, stronger than anyone thought possible and faster than anyone predicted. We reduced crime to record lows, and I'm happy to say here we are in another year, and after the first quarter of the year, crime once again is down dramatically. We've raised graduation rates. This year, every indication so far is that we are continuing the progress in our public school system that we started when we got mayoral control 7 years ago. We've lowered violence in the classroom and tried to help disruptive kids, but in any case, make sure that disruptive kids don't keep other kids from the opportunity to get the education that they deserve and that they need. Does anybody remember 311? Or life without 311? Think about that. It used to be a dozen pages in the phone book, a couple thousand entries on every single page for different city agencies. Now all you have to do is remember one number, and that number not only helps you get services, it helps the city know what you need so that we can provide even better services. Does anybody remember when you had to breathe other people's cigarette smoke? Just think about that. Life expectancy in New York City is higher than it is in the country as a whole. In the last 7 years, life expectancy in this city has increased 15 months. That says on average, the average person is living well over a year longer than they would have done back then. Better parks, cleaner streets, record ambulance response times. People said that we couldn't do it, we said we could do it, and we did it. And we didn't do it as Democrats or as Republicans. We did it as New Yorkers, and we're going to do it again. Bruce, let me conclude by just mentioning that the UFCW did not endorse me, as you pointed out in the last mayor's race, and that makes today even more meaningful for me. I'm asking every New Yorker for their vote, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whether they supported me the last time or not. And I'm glad that I've earned your support, and I know I will need to keep earning your support, and the support of New Yorkers like LaToya and Anthony every single day. Each day there's another challenge that confronts the administration, and each day we have to stand up and be counted and do not what's politically popular, but what's right. And I think that the UFCW members understand that. They represent the backbone of this city. They send their kids to public schools, they walk the streets. They have the same issues that the rest of us do. They're hardworking people trying to do the best for the city and also the best for their families. And the city needs the UFCW working families to keep New York going in the right direction. We need to make sure that every neighborhood has supermarkets, which are crucial to family budgets and family health. And our administration has worked very hard on this issue because access to supermarkets really is an important part of our quality of life. So in summary, I am honored to have the support of the UFCW. Over the next 7 months, I'm going to need the support of your members to volunteer, to make phone calls, to talk to the neighbors, to hand out literature at subway stops. We're going to do this election the old-fashioned way, one person at a time. And together, we are going to keep building New York City's future for the people that live here, for our children, and for our grandchildren. Thank you very much. I really am. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
That wasn't very controversial.